Welcome back to Trial and Error Kitchen. Today we're talking about corn tortillas. They've been around since at least 10,000 BC, were staple foods of the Aztecs and the Mayans, and are still greatly popular today. I mean, without tortillas, you can't really have tacos now, can you? To make our corn tortillas, we're going to use a popular brand of instant corn masa flour. Usually you can find this in any grocery store. Although, where I'm currently living, I have to go to the international aisle to find this. While it's possible to make corn tortillas by hand, it's best to just use a tortilla press, like the one that I have here. This one's made out of cast metal, but you can also find them made out of wood, but I don't really think that they work as well. I have one. Lastly, you're going to need 2 sheets of plastic. Just take a Ziploc bag and cut out circles big enough to fit your press. So the recipe on the bag of the instant corn masa flour calls for 2 cups of the masa flour and 1.5 cups of water. Now, I did find this as a great starting point. It'll get you going. Once you mix all the ingredients together, you're going to have to assess whether or not you need a little bit more water. If you need more water, go ahead and add it, I would say maybe about a teaspoon at a time. Don't go crazy because you don't want to ruin it. Now that we have our 2 cups of corn masa flour, let's go ahead and grab that 12 ounces of water or 1.5 cups, whichever measurements you're using. Go ahead and add that water to your corn flour. You can use a spatula to mix, but I find it's much easier to just use your hand. You can also use a stand mixer, but I didn't feel like getting it out today, so hands it is. So it'll take some trial and error to get the mixture right. Sometimes it comes out too dry, sometimes it's too wet. In this case, I needed to add a little bit more water. Now, you're looking for kind of like the consistency of a soft Play-Doh. If it's too hard, it won't press properly. If it's too moist, it'll stick to your plastic and won't come off. Here's an example of what I was talking about. The dough has a very soft consistency. It does kind of feel like Play-Doh, but it's not hard. And as I pull it, it has some stretch in it before it gives. Friendly tip. Keep your masa covered. It does dry out. You'll have to find what works for you, but I found that a ball of dough about the size of a ping pong ball was perfect. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your tortilla press, and remember those circles of plastic I said that you needed to cut out? Go ahead and put them on the press. One on the bottom, one on the lid. And I find that putting the ball of dough slightly off center helps get a more centered press overall. If you put the ball right in the middle, your tortilla tends to squeeze out the sides. So here's an example of what I was talking about. I put the dough off center, and you want to give it a little bit of pressure. Not too much, or it'll come pouring out the sides. Just enough pressure, and you have a great looking tortilla. So as you can see here, the edges of my tortilla are kind of cracked. That's because the masa is a little too dry, but I haven't quite exactly mastered being able to peel the tortilla off the plastic without completely ripping it up. So I tend to go a little bit on the harder side than the softer side. I can't believe I forgot to mention it. A cast iron griddle, or comal in Spanish, is great for cooking tortillas. And I found that you really do have to use medium-high heat to get great tortillas. I really tried using lower heat at first, and the tortillas just stick and burn to the bottom of the comal, and they just make a mess. I quickly learned that at medium-high heat, I can put down a tortilla, count to about 5 or 6, and the tortilla would unstick itself. Any sooner than that, and it's still stuck to the bottom, but any later than that, and you run the risk of burning it. As you can see, cooking these corn tortillas can be pretty frustrating. It really does take time to learn how to make them. You know, your first tortillas are going to be pretty bad looking. They're going to tear. They're going to burn. But keep at it. It's really worth the effort to learn how to make these. As you can see here, I'm still not the best. But, you know, this is trial and error kitchen. I got to find out what works for me, right? So during the course of this video, I've given you the basic tools to get started. Corn flour, water, a press, sheets of plastic, and a griddle. Just keep trying. Keep making tortillas until you get them right. I mean, look at this. This is well worth the effort. Thanks again for joining me at Trial and Error Kitchen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, maybe leave a comment below. Have a great day.